Welcome to the Kent Integrated Children's Services Portal. This short video will walk you through how to register for an account and how to use the form to make a referral. The portal request for support form replaces the current Word version and will enable information to be received directly into our children's information system. This will lead to a faster, efficient and more secure service. It remains the case that the portal request for support form is intended to be used by professionals making requests for children and families requiring intensive or specialist support at levels 3 and 4 only. Any referrals that do not meet the criteria should be referred to the appropriate service for additional or universal services, or consideration given as to whether the identified needs can be met within the referrer's own service. Please refer to the Kent Support Levels Guidance for further advice, which can be found on both the KELSI and KSCMP websites, where you will also be able to find resources and toolkits to inform the need to raise a request for support, such as the exploitation tool. As currently, a discussion with the parents or carers and with the children or young people where appropriate should take place wherever possible before making any request for support, to ensure that they are aware of any worries or concerns that you have and to be given the opportunity to discuss solutions with you. This should inform your decision as to whether to complete a request for support form or whether there are alternative sources of support available that might be more suitable. Every effort must be made to complete the form as fully as possible, as this will make it easier for decisions about eligibility and urgency of the referral to be made. Insufficient information may lead to a delay. We're now going to demonstrate how you can access the portal and complete a form. Links to the portal can be found on KCC, KELSI and KSCMP websites, and when selected, the main KCC menu page will be displayed. You will see here that there are separate options for making a request for support and for making an occupational therapy request. However, the account that you set up will be the same to access both, and the form for both is structured in a similar way. The difference is that the occupational form asks some additional, more detailed questions about the child or young person's health needs or disabilities that will help the receiving team be able to consider the request more effectively. For the purpose of this video, we will be taking you through the process for both using the request for support option. Select request for support, which will take you to the next page. Select a professional. Here, you should select the most appropriate option, either urgent or standard. Both of these forms are the same in terms of the content, and both will be received by the front door service. However, the urgent requests are flagged and treated as priority. Therefore, it is important that this is only selected when a child is at immediate risk. It's also important to note that where urgent safeguarding action is required outside of normal working hours, from 5 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. on weekdays, weekends or bank holidays, the out-of-hours team should be contacted, as your submitted form will not be picked up by the front door service day team. The first page after selecting either standard or urgent is a human test. You will be asked to select a tick box to demonstrate that you are not an automated system. This is necessary to ensure that the site is not compromised in any way. When you have been verified as a human user, you will be taken to a page that gives some instructions as to how you can work your way through the form and how to print or save for later. Select Next to move on to the next page. The next page is to record the child young person's details, and at this point you will need to log in, or for new users, register for an account. We're going to show you how to register for an account. first select the Login or Register button. Then select the Register for New Account button. Now enter your name as requested, then select Next to move on. Enter your email address, create a password conforming to the requirements as stated, then confirm the password as requested before selecting Next to move on. A code will be sent to your given email address. Enter the code in the field provided. This can be copied and pasted in. When complete, select Next to move on. You will then see a message advising that your registration was successful. To move on, select Continue. The next page is where you will need to agree to the terms and conditions to continue. Tick as appropriate and select Continue again. This will take you back to the form. When you've registered, you can use the same account for any subsequent requests. You will always receive an authentication code via your registered email account. However, this is received quickly and ensures security of the information submitted. When you return to the Child Young Persons Details page, you will see that your portal user details will have pulled through to the top of the page and that there are some further fields to complete below. Under the subheading Who is this form for? Enter details for the key or main child, or if more than one child in the family is being referred, please enter the details for the youngest child. Details for additional children will be requested later in the form. When answering the questions about who the form is being completed on behalf of, select Someone Else. Then enter your relationship to the child as requested, such as class teacher, health visitor, etc. Enter the key child details in the following fields. These are first name, last name, date of birth, gender, ethnicity, any contact details as appropriate or necessary, and the address. The address details can be located easily by entering the relevant details into the postcode field. Then click the Find Address button for the full details to be pulled through. When this section is complete, select Next to move on to the next page. You will then be taken to the Additional Child Young Person Details page. This page allows you to enter any additional details as necessary, such as any disabilities and the school setting for the key child. When you have completed as much as possible, select Next to move on to the next page. The next page is the page to record additional family details, specifically any child at the same address. If you need to enter information in this section, select the Yes button, which will reveal the table allowing you to do so. You can add additional children by selecting the Yes button at the bottom of the page. When completed, select Next and move on to the next page. The following page is where you can record additional family details about other people at the same address. Here you can add details of any other people who live at the address, such as parents, step-parents, adult siblings, lodgers, grandparents, etc. Select the Yes button, which will reveal the table allowing you to do so. Again, you can add additional people by selecting the Yes button at the bottom of the page. When completed, select Next and move on to the next page. The final Additional Family Details page is where you can record the details of significant people living at a different address. For example, any adults or children, such as a parent, half-sibling or grandparent. As before, select the Yes button, which will reveal the table allowing you to do so, and add additional people by selecting the Yes button at the bottom of the page. As before, when all details have been entered, select Next to move on to the next page. The next page is titled Family Agreement to Engage with Services. In this section, you will need to record whether parents or carers are aware of the request being made and allows for consent to be given regarding registration with a children's centre or youth hub. Advice about how the information is used is also recorded on this page and should be shared with the family. When completed, select Next to move on to the next page. This is where you are asked to select reasons for support. In this section, please enter a primary reason for support, selecting an option from the pick list provided. There is also an option for a secondary need to be entered if you are aware of one, but this is not mandatory. When completed, select Next to move on to the next page. The next page is where you will be asked to record the request details. Please enter all details in the fields provided. Please ensure that your information is clear in terms of what you are worried about and any complicating factors. Also, think carefully and note those things that are going well for the child and family. Avoid using lots of unnecessary detail so that it is clear to whoever reads it exactly what you are worried about and what has prompted you to complete the request today. When complete, select Next to move on to the next page. Here, you will be asked to enter your referrer details. Please enter all information requested, including details about any prior consultation with your safeguarding lead. When completed, select Next to move on to the next page. The following page asks you to record any other agencies involved with a child or young person or family. If you have the details of any other agencies that are involved with the child and family, select the Yes button, which will reveal the table allowing you to enter the information as requested. This information assists when further inquiries need to be made in respect of a child and gives an indication of what support may already be in place. You can add additional agencies using the Yes button at the bottom of the page. When all known agencies have been added, select Next to move on to the next page. The next page is where you can upload any supporting documentation, such as any additional reports, a body map, or any other tools used to inform the referral, such as the exploitation toolkit. Select the Upload Document button to browse through your files. When you've selected the appropriate document, it will be visible on the page with the option to remove it if it's incorrect. When completed, again, select Next to move on to the final page where you will be able to submit your completed form. You will see some text here urging you to save your form before submitting it so that the form can be printed and shared with the family before finally submitting it if this is required. You will need to scroll to the bottom of the page to see the options for saving and printing. When you select this, a PDF version of your completed form will be available to you, which you can print or save. When you are confident that you've entered all of the information and have saved or printed the form as necessary, select the option to send the report to Kent Integrated Children's Services. You will see a warning message advising that no other changes can be entered once submitted. Forms are kept within your account site for 30 days, and you can view submitted forms by selecting this option from your account menu. From this same menu, you can also recover a saved form. You can update your account or password details when necessary, and submit feedback. We are keen to hear how you have found using the form, and we will read all feedback. Unfortunately, we're not able to respond to individuals and may not be able to make specific changes due to technical limitations, but we will take all feedback into account when further developing and updating the portal. Thank you for taking the time to watch this instruction video. Professionals' guidance for using the portal can also be found on the Kelsey and KSCMP websites.